What in the... Alright folks, welcome to Black Bear Outdoors. Today we're going to do a quick basic clean and lubrication of your WS MCR. And it comes with a lot of caveats, of course. I'm wearing my blue gloves for a couple of reasons. Just so you don't see too many fingerprints under these lights, as well as I'm working with oil, so it's pretty convenient. If you are looking for a more detailed breakdown of this rifle, I would recommend you check out the video that Adriel the hunting gear guy did. He goes into a little bit more detail. Our video today is just a basic clean and lube, which we do normally after, you know, a few different range days, but also very importantly when we get a new rifle. And I believe that that helps quite a lot to avoid any form of new rifle malfunctions. With all the YouTube regulations and so forth, there's going to be a bunch of disclaimers beforehand, so let's get through those first. Now, firstly, we are not going to show you how to modify or build any firearms. We're merely going to show you how to clean and lubricate and maintain this rifle over here. Now, I understand that there's many different ways to do it. This is just how we do it and the products that we use, and I'm in no way suggesting that you do the same. It's just showing you what we do. All right, so with that being said, let's get to it. So guys, this rifle, just so you know, when we first got it, we cleaned and lubed it exactly like we're going to be doing today and haven't touched it since. We went through all kinds of videos with us, put all kinds of different rounds through it, fired it a lot, and it doesn't actually need a cleaning, I believe, but it's run flawlessly. We've had zero issues of any kind, and I attribute a lot of that to the way we lubricate it, right? So let's get to it. So what is it that we're going to be using today? So we're going to use some break-free CLP. This is our go-to clean, lube, and protect product. You may have a different preference. All right, we're going to use our little nylon polymer brush here. You can get these in all kinds of kits and online and stuff. They're super cheap and they work really well. This particular one came from an AR kit, I believe. We're going to be using a standard 5.56 or 22 caliber cleaning rod. We're going to use some patches. Now these little patches are actually 9mm ones. I just cut in half. They work fine, but you could get the 22 caliber ones. We're also going to be using our trusty 22 caliber bore snake and a microfiber cloth. All right, so let's get started. So guys, just so you know, I'm working around the camera today, so I apologize if there's gonna straight cuts and lots of edits and maybe a bit of shakiness. All right, so first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our rifle apart. Just so you know, it has been cleared. There's no ammunition around, and let's get to it. So first thing you want to do is you want to remove this back pin. I just push it through with the snap cap, and that will allow you to push down on the button at the back and pull out your recoil springs and op rods, right? And that'll also hinge open the firearm. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove that little pin there using the same method. And that way we separate both the upper and the lower. Now we're going to put the lower aside for a little bit, and we'll be concentrating on the upper for now. So next thing you want to do is you want to remove the bolt carrier group. So you pull your charging handle back to that position, and then you can remove it by just pulling it out. Put that aside. And now you can slide your bolt carrier group out the back there. There you go. So there's quite a few people that would, at this point, spray directly into the barrel with their CLP or their cleaning product there. I tend to make a giant mess if I do that, so I do it a different way. I use the cleaning rod here. I just put a little patch around it. Now you can use those little lube types as well. I'm just using the brush at the moment. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a good spray with CLP. So there's a good amount on there. Now we're going to run this from the back down the barrel. And we're going to push it through a couple of times. That way it spins all around the barrel and gets the CLP in there. Again, like I said, there's many people who prefer to use or to spray directly into the barrel. I just make a mess by doing so. Now, why we do this? So what the CLP is going to do is it's going to start breaking down all the carbon and stuff that's built up in the barrel, right? So we're going to put the upper aside for a little bit so that the CLP can start doing its work. All right, so next up is our bolt carrier group. And what I like to do is I like to pull out the bolt a little bit. Give it a good old squirt of CLP there. Work it in a little bit and grab our brush, and now we're going to scrub her down. Getting that bolt face. We don't want to get any oil inside the firing pin channel. But we're going to give this guy a good scrub down, getting any carbon that we can off of it, and we'll set it aside. So next up, what I'd like to do is I take off the recoil springs here, making sure you don't tangle the two up, and then I just give the rods a little bit of a scrub down as well. I mean, it's not super necessary, but it's just something I like to do. Alright guys, so what we're going to do now is we're going to leave our components there for a little while so that the CLP can get a chance to do its job. And then we'll come back in 5 minutes and keep going. Now guys, you can do the same with your lower, give it a bit of a brush down. The reason why I'm not doing this right now is I actually do want a bit of carbon fouling in the trigger. So that's a little bit of a tip from Mr. Geisley himself, from Geisley Triggers. He mentioned that especially with the newer trigger, having a little bit of carbon fouling in there actually smooths out the trigger. So we're going to leave it still for a couple of times before we actually clean that bit. Alright, now that the CLP has had its chance to do its job, what we're going to do is we're going to start wiping down our components with our microfiber here. Getting all the excess CLP out. And I'm going to put our recoil springs back on here. Alright. Next up, we're going to grab our bolt carrier group. And we're going to wipe off all the carbon and that came loose now. And the excess CLP. As you can see, there's a lot of carbon coming off of it, judging by our cloth. Well, that looks good to go to me. Next up, we're grabbing our little 22 caliber bore snake. I use the original Hoppies ones. You'll notice it's got a little bit of a weight at the end, and it's got all kinds of brushes and things going down it. So I quite like these. So what we're going to do is we're going to just thread it down the barrel here, and the weight will guide it right to the end of your barrel, and you'll see it coming out the barrel on this end. So all that we're going to do is we're going to pull it through a couple of times, right? And that way it removes the CLP and brushes and polishes the barrel for you. So unfortunately you won't be able to see what the barrel looks like with the camera, but it certainly is clean. Alright, now that we've got that all sorted out, let's go back to our bolt carrier. Now this is my personal preference, and I believe this is one of the reasons why I never have malfunctions. So I'm going to give it a smear of CLP at the bottom there, and on the side that rides inside the receiver, going to give it a little smear of CLP there as well. Like I said, I like running the bolts wet. What we're going to do now is we're going to put our bolt carrier back in there. So we move it to that little position where we can see the hole for the charging handle. Replace the charging handle. Next we're going to replace our recoil springs and op rods, putting them inside the holes of the carrier there. Now we can reattach our lower. And next we push our op rods and springs in, click it in place, and close our pin. Alright, and then what I do next is I give it a bit of wipe down on the outside as well. And time for a function test. Safety on, that's working. Reset's working. And there you have a WS MCR ready for your next range day. Now guys, if you learned something new or enjoyed our video, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a comment down below. It really does help us out to survive in this vast wasteland of content on YouTube. And you all stay safe, and we'll see you next time.